got to Raleigh, North Carolina for this event. So let's see how it goes. Waiting for a white Ford Transit with tinted windows.
Awesome.
Check this out. Downstairs. Hotel was really nice. This place is pretty cool. Tomorrow we will be doing a factory tour. So I guess they're making some new oil filter technology. All right, we're gonna go inside and do a tour of the facility, so we'll check everything out. This feels right. So ready to take off and keep it down here.
A filter that will last for 20,000 miles. Thanks to our engineering groups that were able to develop all the standards necessary for that. It's definitely a new standard of durability, right, and a service interval that we see in the marketplace. So it's something that some 10 years ago it wasn't common. 20K stands for the 20,000 mile protection. Right? Purolator 20K oil filter.
If you put an oil filter on that can last 20,000 miles, but the oil can only last 3,000, I mean, we're kind of in trouble in the end anyways.
Yeah, kind of a waste. So they have to work together, obviously, right? We are cleaning what that oil is doing, or what's happening inside the engine. And what happens in an engine when you start to break down is you start to build up acids and other things in the additive package. And so really to answer what you're asking, they are pushing the boundaries as far as the additive package. They've been doing it for years. And so most of us, like I was talking about earlier, we still want to change that oil at 5,000, 6,000. When the monitor goes off, the oil will go longer. We know that. Yeah. And now we actually have a product that will match up to that oil and easily be, hand in glove, like I was talking about. So yeah, that's what's going on.
Would this filter fit like a minivan as well as a sports turbo car? Like, can you use it across all the platforms? Like, could be a mom and his family doing the oil change using this car, and also a young kid from college having fun with his car, still trust the same way.
I think Lee said it best. We have to know everybody, right? So it's got to be. We have to know the minivan to the Supra. You know, it's got to be everything in between. So yeah,
So it fits.
correct.
All right.
Right.
As long as you pick the right filter.
Yeah.
I'm telling you now.
Look it up right.
The number one issue that we deal with is still today, people will select the wrong filter.
What's the general process of bringing a product like this to market, and how much time do you spend in testing?
In our development process, it really starts with the material development, right? So we're looking at, let's take, for example, the silicone, the AEM, or the filter media. Those are released at a material level for a global standard, right? That anywhere in Manitoba we can use that material across the globe, right? So we're looking at really the accelerated life testing for that material, right? And there are industry standards for ASTM that specify how to evaluate these different materials beside each other, right? You get an idea for the compression set, for the swell, for the burst pressure of media in aging. So that gives you an idea for the performance of the material. And then you put that in a particular application or a particular filter that's designed for a particular vehicle, right? And those are evaluated using industry standards, industry standard test equipment, like ISO 4548-12 for multi-pass, HS 806 for the mechanical requirements, US Car 36, which covers a variety of aftermarket specifications. So material development, application development, tested industry standards.
Is the material? Did you guys design this process of filtration with the material, or has it been something that you took from a different industry maybe to use it more of a road car application?
We have a variety of components and materials that we can group together for a particular configuration, right? Particularly when we're talking about this 20,000 mile capable filter. The materials are pretty well defined what has to withstand that time interval and that temperature, such as the AEM. Some people are using the HMBR material for the seal gasket, which is really good at high temperatures, but not so good at low temperatures. So this material is really standard in Europe for their extended range intervals, and now we're bringing it to Walmart in this particular application.
Your earlier statements about pairing the oil filter with a particular oil, were you focused on any particular oil, or were you doing like you do with the manufacturers and sort of going through everybody's different types of oil and experimenting with that? So is there an actual pairing, like you say you have a Walmart thing, you're going to have this on the shelf next to 20,000 mile oil. Is there a particular brand that you focused on, or is this just a catch-all for every type of oil that runs through that filter that it's going to be able to do 20,000 miles?
It's a bit of a catch-all. You know, if you think about there are several brands of premium oil that have long mileage claims on them, and so this particular Purolator 20K filter will pair with any of those oils that will also make a claim around 20,000 miles.
I guess more specifically, when you did your testing, were you focused on a particular brand of oil at that time, or were you just trying each and every different type of oil through it to see what worked best?
If I can add something to that, when we're evaluating the filters using these industry standard tests, they specify a particular fluid, such as if you're testing the elastomers, there's an IRM 901 and the 903 for the chemical exposure, right? And that evaluates all the material on the same level. Same thing with the filter evaluations for filtration efficiency. It's a hydraulic fluid within the equipment that's calibrated to that for the evaluation. When we talk about the aging, for instance, of the filter media, and we're looking at that, what we have found is that Castrol 0830 is really the most aggressive additive package that's out there. So we use that as a basis for the aging of the filter media.
Lee, you kept saying, and it kept sticking, a lot of customers pick the wrong filter for their application, or you see it happen, right? And it's really cool that you have an online I guess, portal where customers could go like do it yourself and choose the right filter. But my question is, what happens if you get the wrong filter and it say mechanically fits the car, but it's not the right one for the car? Like, we built cars as a race team, and we mechanically choose a lot of different aftermarket parts and blend them together. So what are some of the things that could happen if you get the wrong one on?
In-house that we call prescription engineering. So we're looking at the applications that filters intended for, and that's kind of what we're keying in on. So let's say if you grab the wrong filter, from about back many days, he said they had a term in the diesel world, and it was diesel fitters. Diesel fitters. And what that meant was diesel fitter. So it was whatever you could screw on, right? That's not a thing. We talked about the different medias. We need specific capacities. We have different bypass valve settings, which is critically important. We talked about the gasket materials. All of these features that we engineer them for specific performance with other component parts. So if you change out one of those component parts, you can get into some trouble. If you do it right, then you've got a tank of a filter out there. But yeah, all the different component parts are engineered to function together. So when you start to mix them up, and we all like to do cool stuff in the garage, I get it. But yeah, it's engineered to function as a unit.
That are the same diameter, same height, same ceiling diameter, and same thread. So they look almost identical. But one of them is designed for a Dodge application, right? For like the Challenger. The other is designed for an F-150. Those two filters have different burst ratings, right? With the Challenger being either 300 PSI versus 200 PSI. So you could run into an issue application-wise of using the wrong filter.
It sounds like the relief valve is a big deal too, right? Because if it's incorrectly chosen, that could be bypassing the filter.
It could be bypassing or got it. Yep.
So does that mean that each one has a different element in it? The filter element's slightly different per filter, or is it still the same material?
Relief valves that are inside, or the ADB from a dimensional perspective could be different depending on that particular setup with material.
So the 20K media is all the same across the board. If you put it in with something that needs 0.20 weight or 1540 weight, it's still the same?
Correct.
Okay.
And the filter still operates with all those different oils, whether it's mineral-based, synthetic blend, or 100% synthetic, right? Although you're not going to be able to press that oil maybe to 20,000, but it's perfectly capable of performing.
It's not like a two-part question. Number one, obviously, like 20K is a big milestone. Why 20K? Is that like where you guys saw the best performance, opposed to like 10 or 15,000? And then obviously, you have, like everybody said, kind of your daily drivers versus your performance, like the drifters having their drift cars. What is that life like for someone that's pushing a drift car versus someone that's driving a minivan?
When we talk about this Walmart application, right, it's a broad product line, right? And it's released from Walmart. It's covering 95 to 98% of the vehicles in operation out there for your everyday driver. Particular applications for drift, et cetera, those are going to be maybe a small segment of that product line, right? Going to be very specific, right? So we would need to take a look at those and, as Lee was saying, make sure it's applicated correctly to that particular.
So in your current product line, you have your Purolator 1 and your Purolator Boss that also claims 20,000 miles. So where does this product fit in that lineup?
1 and Boss are very well-known products out there today. There's also the Purolator Classic, the red can as well. And so this one, again, this is like aimed at the DIYer that wants to be able to push that drain interval. There are some people that use Boss in different ways. So it's kind of the same side of one side of a coin and the other side is the 20K. So Boss is on one side, 20K is on the other. Will they both go 20,000? Absolutely, but they do have different medias. They're kind of pointed in different directions, different price points. It just really depends on what the user's doing, what they like. And again, this is really an exclusive for our friends at Walmart. And that's the other, we want to try and reach a demographic that hasn't necessarily bought the Boss filter. So that's kind of where it's aimed at.
Time to go do the go-karts. We're gonna be riding on those little indoor crazy carts. Should be pretty fun.
There are no brakes. 0 brakes. Right over here where the brake pedal would be, there's not one.